So here we are again. When I am helping with the German American fishing certification course for HFSS, one of the things in the course is always check your gear before you unpack, or check your gear after you unpack before you make your first cast. And this, in essence, is a good practice. However, when I do the practicals part, I tell them that even though this is a good practice, it is the wrong practice. And the reason is you do not want to get out to a lake and then unpack your stuff to find that something is broken, something is missing, something is not where it's supposed to be. Okay? This right here is a good case in point. I was going to go fishing tomorrow. So yesterday, I did my typical. I check all of my gear 1 to 2 days prior, especially here in Germany, because if you get out on a lake, there may not be any stores around. Even so in America, especially so in America. The dilemma is I can't just jump over to the next tackle shop or run to the closest town and grab gear. Because in Germany, everything opens late and closes early on a basic scale on Saturdays. All shops and everything except food industry, bakeries and so on, are totally closed on Sundays. Totally. So it's not like I get out and I'm going, oh darn, I'm missing some hooks. I'll just drive to the nearest tackle shop on a Saturday morning to grab it, or especially on a Sunday, which would be the point in this case, because nothing's going to be open on a Sunday. And when I get there on a Saturday, if I've not gotten there by 12, 1 o'clock, most tackle shops are already closed. They'll open around 9 or so, but they're closed by 1 or 2 max. So my thing is, I tell them during this, you should always check your gear a couple of days in advance so that if you need something, you have time to go get it. Well, yesterday afternoon, I was unpacking and everything, and I checked my net, pulled all my gear out, was checking my net, and I do not know how it happened, but right at the screw point where this is supposed to be, this connector is totally broken. Now, I could super glue it, but if I'm landing with this net, if I'm landing a 70, 80 pound fish, and this is a real porous plastic, I really don't trust it to hold together, because with these nets, you don't put it in and scoop the fish up. You turn it, so there's a lot of weight put on this dividing piece that opens and closes. So what I have done is, this material is too small for this diameter. So I went and got me a piece of real good hosing. And my dilemma is, this piece for the tip curves, as you can see. And what that does is the hard piece protects the rubber from these edges on the holder. So for me to put this on, within a short amount of time, this edging here would literally cut through this at some point. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to round this slightly. I'm going to put a bevel on it, a little 45-degree angle bevel, so that when this goes on and then it's bent, this edging here doesn't cut it. So let me get that done. Dremel, tool of the gods. Love my Dremel. So now these are rounded and smoothed, so they're not going to cut and wear into my hose. I had to get a larger hose to match the diameter of the insert pieces. And what we're going to do now is measure this. I got a little extra. This here is about a 75 to 80 centimeter wide net, because I do go after big fish, and by German law I have to have a net equivalent to the size of the fish. So what I'm going to do here is I want to measure. I'm going to leave a little bit extra just so I can tighten it up. Now, these parts cost me about €8, €9, equivalent of about $10. While a replacement net would have cost me 50 to 70 for one this size. And yeah, I like that. So we're going to put this here. Boom. Now, these come with the real small 3.5 millimeter screws, and the smallest that they had was a M4 washer. So I'm hoping that these are going to, the head's going to be big enough to block it, because if I was just to put the screw in, it would just punch right through this tubing, and I don't want that. So I've got to put a backing on it, where here the hard plastic would have done the same thing. So let me get this out and get this set up. So we're going to put this on, and I need to screw this into place. And so I'm going to fold this one out of the way. There we go. So, I mean, we're going to have some wear and tear here, but with the parts, this will be easy to replace, and I'll probably get me a second piece and carry it in my gear just in case it breaks in the field, which is, you know, that's normally where it's going to break. Now, the next thing is putting this net back on. Your nets, in this case, for these flip open types, one, I want to make sure the inside of the net is going to fold against the way that this locks. So I'll look for like a tag or whatever, and that tells me it's the inside. And when this locks onto the backing, the back support on here, I know this is going to be the inside. Now I'm going to try to run this through, and hopefully I'll be able to do it without too much effort. I'm going to pull the majority of the net along here so that I can get it wrapped and then have space to work. But most people go, oh, I've got to, you know, cut the net or repair and re-sew the net. This is designed for a slip-on and slip-off. You just got to open the two ends up to make it happen. What's going to keep me from really doing anything is this little short piece here, because it's supposed to be down here. So what I'm going to have to do is, once I get this into position, I'm going to have to close this. Again, I want to make sure this is on the inside when I do this. You notice I've not put that second screw in yet. This definitely would work better having a extra pair of hands, but it is what it is. So I've got this down. I want to bring this up and lock it. Check my net. You notice I've got, this is still loose in here. That's why I left this open on this end, so that I could bring this down and tighten it. This idea here is mainly to keep this flush so you can get underneath and around the fish. It doesn't have to be tight, but it does have to keep it at least in a non-saggy state. So now all I did was pull this back up. Nothing else has changed. I just pulled this back up so I can get to where this holding screw hole is, because I do not want, as I was thinking about it, I really don't want the screw, especially the washer, on the outside of this net. And there we go. I should be able to open this. Boom. Tag and everything's on the inside, so it goes with the stitching. And poof, a $10 fix, so we don't have to buy a $50 net. And that's that. See, this is still flexible, but the idea is you need to keep this not rigid but taut, so that you can scoop underneath and it's not flexing underneath that fish. That's the whole point of it. And since I rounded these tips off, it should be good. It won't cut into it, so it should be good to go for at least another season. So, poof, country style repairing a fish net. And it is set up and ready to go for the fishing trip. And I don't get there and go opening it to set everything out and then find that it's broken. I won't get out there to the water to set up to find I've got to replace line, or that I need to redo a leader to a main line, or replace a braided line or whatever. Always try to do this before you go out. It's going to save you a lot of time on the water. It's going to give you more time fishing on the water. And if you do have to replace anything, it is going to make it much easier and less frustrating, because there's no way I could have repaired that in the field that easily.